You're listening to Sister Stargazers, celestial and terrestrial observations and advice from two real-life sisters. Welcome, fellow stargazers. Your sisters are in the house. Hi, Jude.
Hello, Sarah. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you this week?
We are good over here. And I'm talking we. I have a little basset hound.
Mr. Basset Hound.
We're all good.
That's excellent. Well, let's jump right into it because we are at episode 26. Sunday, March 6th through Saturday, March 12th. And I just want to give a little shout out to us because this is our 6th month exact mark of programming, 26 consecutive weeks of news for the Astro-Curious. So congratulations.
I know. I'm so excited. And here's to, 26 more.
Here's to the 26 more. I know.
And thank you all for listening to us and for your support and high fives and all of that. And we're just so excited to keep this rolling. It's so much fun. Yeah, we love bringing it to you. So
speaking of rolling, we're in this week of March 6th through the 12th. Some interesting aspects coming up. Where do you want to start?
Well, I can start on Saturday the 5th because the sun conjuncts Jupiter in Pisces. And I did talk a little bit about that last week with the new moon, but the sun conjunct Jupiter in Pisces is opening up our intuition, our insight, our inner heartfelt places. It's a very generous, magnanimous aspect. So I want to encourage people to go to their chart, put in your data in astro.com.
It's free.
Free with your birthday, birth time. If you don't know your birth time, it's totally fine because these big planets, you may not know the faster moving planets like the moon changes signs every 2.5 days. So you might be born on a day when the moon is changing sign and you won't know your house, you won't know your ascendant unless you have your birth time. But you can see in general where, for example, this house of Pisces might be in your chart. If you were born in the season of Pisces, then Pisces will be in a whole house system. Pisces will be your first house. If you're born in the Taurus season, Pisces will be your 12th house. So you can figure some stuff out in a general way by looking at your chart and finding out where Pisces is, because that's the place right now where the sun is shining a light, where Jupiter is conjoining the sun and just filling out like some big plan, some big picture. In Pisces, it's just so generous and easy. There's a lot of ideas. There's this kind of boundlessness, like anything is possible. So that's happening. And Sunday, the 6th, is when Mars and then Venus enter Aquarius. So they've been traveling together.
Yeah.
They will continue to travel together. And by this, I mean that Mars and Venus are only at most 1 degree apart, and then they catch up and travel in the same degree. So it's kind of like in Capricorn, they met up and are walking, they're having a nice walk, and one of them like skips over a puddle, and then the other one kind of comes up and meets it, and then Venus moves forward, and then Mars comes up and meets her. So there's this kind of give and take. They're traveling together as buddies. In Aquarius, they move into Aquarius. It's a total shift of expression.
Right.
So in Capricorn, it's very much about practicalities. And Mars is exalted in Capricorn. It wants to build something.
Yeah.
It wants to make it real. And Venus is offering the aesthetic decisions. Like, how can you make this more beautiful? That's Venus.
Yeah.
Right? And Capricorn is, okay, I'll put sprinkles all over it. I'm going to go get them.
Right,
Let's go get them, So there's this kind of partnership.
Yeah.
And so as they move together into Aquarius, they're more like, it's an air sign. So they're more like ducks flying together in a pattern. So you've seen, like eiders,
right.
Even like the Canadian geese, right? They fly in pairs or small formations.
Yes.
And then, one of them will be flying ahead of the other and the other will drop back, and then they'll spell one another. One will let the other one rest, and then the other goose will take the lead.
Right.
It's because with their beak, with their aerodynamics, of their bodies, they're actually creating a
like a drag.
Right. It's like this this pyramidal air.
They're catching the draft.
Yeah. So they're helping one another fly. And that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
Mars and Venus are doing in Aquarius.
Yeah.
So ideas are sparking. You could do this, you could go here. And then the thoughts about how you fit into the collective.
Okay.
In your individual way.
Yes.
But also being part of something more expressive.
Yeah.
So the collective support is what Venus and Mars moving through Aquarius can really offer right now.
Okay.
Your ideas, your aesthetic sense, your sense of movement, what you want to construct, what you want to build, what you want to think about, like how you want to think about yourself can all be supported right now with this shift of Mars and Venus into Aquarius, which is very cool.
Yes.
And then the sun and Jupiter in Pisces is also supporting that.
Yeah.
And they are traveling together.
Wow.
So there's some really interesting support this week for the changes that were perhaps whispered during this last week's new moon in Pisces.
New moon.
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. That's exciting.
Well, in addition, we have Mercury, traveling through Aquarius, met up with Saturn.
Right.
Trying to dig deeper, get at the truth, whatever the truth is.
Right.
Also, though, looking at multiple sides of the truth or trying to determine a structure for what they're learning. So in Aquarius, Mercury's really was digging around.
Right.
And trying to understand.
Right.
And Saturn was giving some structure to that. But now Mercury has moved into Pisces as of the 9th.
Okay.
And this is offering us a shift in our ability to go deep into our feelings.
Right.
Pisces is a water sign. It's the ocean. It's not like Cancer or Scorpio. Scorpio is like a very deep well, that has no limits to its depth. It's very focused. It's drilled down. It's deep.
Yes.
Pisces is the ocean. It's the ocean of possibilities, the ocean, the waters that connect all things. The river empties into the ocean. It's the water cycle. The water evaporates, it rains down, it continues.
The origination of evolution.
Yes. Yes, it's the collective unconscious, as Carl Jung would say.
Yeah.
So there's an availability with Mercury and Pisces to really have some very deep conversations with ourselves and to go into those places which we may not want to go, or we may be offered an opportunity to look into these deeper parts of ourselves.
This might be a good point to bring up this other interesting celestial body that is out in the Neptunian areas that are called Centaurs, talking about going into deeper parts of ourselves. There's one in particular that's also in Pisces, and his name is Nessus. Do we want to talk about him now as we're talking about these deeper feelings?
Yes, that's a great segue. So Nessus is a Centaur planet, and it orbits like Chiron, who's more well-known and was discovered in 1977. Nessus moves between the outer planets. So Chiron links Saturn with Uranus, and there's another centaur called Pholus that links Saturn and Neptune. And the orbit of Nessus links Saturn with Pluto. So we've been getting a lot of Pluto, lately.
For sure.
In the last 2 years. And now currently we're in the midst of the United States Pluto return.
Right.
So where Pluto comes back to its original point.
For the United States.
Yes, in the chart for the United States. So we have Nessus now. We know that Nessus is there, and it's always been there, just like Pluto was always there.
Right.
We discovered Pluto in 1930 because we had the technology to see it. And that's the same thing that's happening now. We're discovering these centaurs because we have the capacity to see it.
Yeah.
And when we discover these planets, the consciousness or the awareness of them filters down into our own awareness, and we become more conscious of the properties of that planet operating in our lives and in the lives of the world, in the collective of the world.
We can get more specific. There's an opportunity to get more specific because we have another tool of discernment.
Exactly. So this orbit of Nessus linking Saturn with Pluto it brings up the structures, the focus, the discipline, the rules, right? And it takes them out to Pluto to be transformed. So Nessus right now is really operative because it's at 14 degrees of Pisces. So it was prominent in this new moon chart that we had last week because the new moon was at 13 degrees. So the sun and moon were at 13 degrees Pisces.
Yeah.
And now Jupiter is made a conjunction to Nessus.
Right, with the sun.
With the sun. So Nessus is at 14, Jupiter's at 15, the sun is at 16.
Can we back up just a second and give a little background of what Nessus is contributing to this conversation? Like mythologically, Nessus was the centaur who did not act very well. He was not a great centaur.
No, the centaurs are really bad.
Yeah.
They're like the darkest nature.
Yeah.
Except for Chiron.
Right.
Chiron was the healer.
Right.
He overcame his centaur nature, but actually he came through another lineage. So Nessus and Pholus are bad boys. You know,
Yeah.
they do bad things.
Yeah.
So the mythology of Nessus, and I'm reading a little bit from Henry Seltzer's work with the centaurs, but there's lots of good information out there. Eric Francis, who's done some work with the delineation of the centaurs, and also Melanie Reinhardt, and we can post those links.
Yeah, we'll put those links down there, yeah.
But the mythology of Nessus, according to Henry Seltzer, partakes of some of the same elements as the other centaur stories, including painful death. So I'm not saying that this is about what's happening now, but it involves Hercules, and Hercules is involved with many of the centaur stories.
Right.
So when Nessus was ferrying Hercules' wife, Deianeira, across a river, he tried to rape her, and so Hercules shot him through the heart with a poisoned arrow. But Nessus, although dying, wreaked revenge on Hercules by giving some of the poison mixed with his blood and semen to Deianeira, the wife of Hercules, with the instruction, why did she listen to him? I don't know.
Well,
that she should give this to her husband, Hercules, if she should ever suspect him of being unfaithful, and that it would keep him honest.
Yeah.
So she had her doubts. She thought maybe Hercules was playing around. So she administered this poison to this concoction, right, to Hercules, and he died in great pain. In great pain.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was reading in the bullfinch's mythology, that it not only killed him, but it was an agonizing, sort of flesh deteriorating pain that was his demise.
Yeah. I mean, this intentional, willful, revengeful act that is intended to cause pain and death is part of the Nessus story. So that element of revenge, and death is a transformation. You don't have to die, but you definitely end up in some other place if you're part of this Nessus story.
The thing that it occurs to me is sort of like, what are your motivations? Are your motivations coming out of lust and greed and revenge, or are you acting from a place of love? And can we recognize the moments when we are prompted to act unkindly, and can we in the moment shift it, or can we review and forgive ourselves for when we did act out of things less than kindness or love? That seems to be the message of Nessus is, where is your motivation coming from? Where are your acts leading from?
Exactly, yeah. Be mindful of where your actions originate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when Nessus is in play, out of unconscious motivations like revenge or
jealousy, envy,
jealousy,
greed, lust,
right? The whole, all of those things. When you can't name them, and you're acting out of spite, out of unconscious motivations, you set in motion these incredibly painful events.
Yeah.
And to be aware of that, to really be mindful of how you feel and what you do with that feeling is really going to be magnified now during this week because of the new moon the week before and the consequences that might have been revealed at that new moon, new steps, new avenues opening up. But now you might be getting blowback. You just want to be really, really mindful of not setting in motion a degree of chaos that operates out of a motive of revenge.
Yeah. It doesn't go well for anyone.
No. No. So these Centaur planets are bringing up for all of humankind the potential of really working through, like acknowledging those darker feelings, those darker impulses,
Yeah.
Like lust, revenge, jealousy, hatred, envy.
Yeah, well, we're human. It's sort of, it would be unrealistic or naive to think that none of us have or has those moments when you want to do something and kind of stick it to the other person. And then can you pull yourself back?
Right. There is a good side to this.
Yeah.
When Nessus is strongly placed, I would say that we have this opportunity with the Sun and Jupiter conjunct Nessus to really see our motivations. And so when we see them, we can understand them.
Yes.
And it might involve acknowledging within yourself a need for a transition between decisions you make and responsibility for those decisions.
Yes.
So you want to make sure that the decisions you're making aren't impacting in the wrong way.
Yep.
So there can be a sense that you can heal. You can understand your own motivations and heal them by recognizing them.
Yes.
So that's the gift.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think there's also, we can also post the Ho'oponopono prayer where you're forgiving yourself, you forgive the other person, you love them, and you thank them for the opportunity that they've provided to give you this chance to grow.
Yes.
It's a Hawaiian forgiveness ceremony. So you say, I am sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you.
Right.
This is the westernized, stripped down version that I'm saying to you now.
Right, right.
But there is a whole ceremony. But being able to say those words mindfully to yourself,
yes,
you can release the karma and release the self-hatred that's involved with maybe making a decision that you didn't take responsibility for.
Yes. And I think it's important to remember, too, like you can do this on a psychic level. You don't have to go to the person. I mean, how nice would it be if you could go to the person and heal whatever the conflict or impact was, but that you can do it psychically through meditation with yourself saying those phrases. And that does, like you said, puts the ball rolling towards karmic healing. I know some of the mythology can be a little dark.
I mean, the thing with the myths are, these are cultures that are thousands and thousands and thousands of years old,
Yes.
We're just dealing with, the United States had its 250th
right
anniversary,
47th,
whatever it is. We're only like
babies. We're just babies.
We're babies, right? But if you look at a culture like the Sumerians or the Babylonians or the Old Kingdom Egyptians, that culture went on for 10,000 years the same.
Yeah.
Basically the same.
Right.
So can you imagine the kinds of stories that were able to be played out in those times? And then that would have been encoded. So what we are getting as myths are actually a very deep part of the human story.
That's it.
That are still acting out on us, through us today. I mean, okay, maybe we're getting a little bit more of a grasp on things, but you know what I mean?
That's the hope, right?
Yeah.
That's the hope now is through this work, we're raising the consciousness to sort of change these patterns, shift these patterns, break these patterns, operate at a higher vibration, operate at a higher level on the spectrum towards love versus on the, other end of fear, or get more access to rising consciousnesses.
Yes, absolutely.
Raising consciousnesses, rising, lifting consciousness.
Well, Mercury entering Pisces,
yes,
that will help a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't mean to depress anyone.
There it is. There's the week.
Not to get off on a tangent.
Well, it's just a tool. Like if you're willing to do the work, the rewards will be there available. It's only depressing if you want to run and hide from it. You want to try to empower yourself to do the work to clear out this stuff. And if you feel like you've got to run away from it, maybe finding someone you can talk through it with, or
exactly,
a friend, a counselor.
It's really important to mention this. If these kinds of feelings come up, don't stuff them down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because at this time, there is the support of the energy in other parts of the chart. So there's support for us to move through whatever these deeper woundings are.
Yep.
And I can see that because Venus and Mars are also trine to the North Node. There's a happy aspect.
Yes.
Anything that's coming up is going to be for our evolutionary growth.
That's right. Yeah, to break the cycle.
Exactly. They're also trine to Ceres in Taurus. This is the goddess, the earth goddess is supporting us. So the earth itself is supporting us in this growth, in this maturity process.
Yes.
And also Venus and Mars make a quintile to Chiron. And Chiron is the healer.
Yes.
And the quintile aspect, it's a supporting aspect. It's a spiritualizing, positive, subtle, supporting aspect.
Yes.
To be conscious and integrate painful feelings and to shed the baggage of earlier frustrations. So you can be a more fully participating person in the world.
Yeah. And operate at a higher vibration.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for all this information, for laying it out and breaking it down for us. Fellow stargazers, if you have questions or comments or concerns, you can reach out to us at Connected Sister Stargazers.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Have a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks, Jude.
All right, Sarah, take care. Bye for now, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Sister Stargazers. Let us know what worked for you this week. Find us on Facebook and post a comment at Sister Stargazers.